Virtual reality is a simulated experience that can be similar to or completely different from the real world. With VR, we have a lot of different interesting use cases that are going to affect our daily life. The first one I want to show is around virtual conferences and social gatherings. I organize a monthly meetup inside of virtual reality, and so people can join my meetup from around the world and represent themselves as a digital avatar. On the screen, I have a picture of AltSpace VR, which is one virtual reality social gathering platform. So on this platform, you can choose what your avatar looks like. You can customize what your avatar is wearing. You can appear as a robot or appear as a human. One thing that's very exciting in AltSpace that points to the future of our daily life is they currently have a feature in beta where you can choose the language you speak and then also the language that you want to see captions displayed in. So this is very futuristic. For example, I can be speaking in English and have my captions of anyone else speaking display as Japanese. I'm going to show you a short video from a recent conference that I held inside of virtual reality that Ueki-san was able to attend.
I'm speaking Japanese.
Ah,
It's working.
おはようございます。
it's working.
今日はトーマスに誘われてここにやってきました。私たち日本人は英語を話さないので、いつも言葉の壁に悩まされています。でも、この技術を使うと、その壁がなくなり、より多くの皆さんとコミュニケーションが取れそうなので、とても感激しています。今日はありがとうございました。
No, that's great.
Excellent.
This is fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you.
どうもありがとう。
So in this example, Ueki-san is speaking Japanese, and on the screen we're displaying the real-time translation of Japanese. For some people attending this meetup, they had their settings set to English, so everything that Ueki-san was saying in Japanese was being displayed as captions in English. So I'm going to show you an example of a second attendee at the meetup speaking German and how their German language is being translated to display in Japanese.
Also wir sprechen hier Deutsch und es wird auf Englisch übersetzt.
Yeah, that looks good.
Ja, und es ist sogar korrekt. Ich sehe es in meinem eigenen Text unten.
So this is very exciting to consider for daily life, that we can have people come to these meetings from all over the world, speak the language that they're most comfortable with, and have other attendees see a real-time translation of another language or the language that they understand. So this is, again, AltSpace VR, and this is currently in beta, but hopefully this becomes a feature that everyone can try out very soon. I know Ueki-san and I had a great experience trying this out together. All right, another use case for virtual reality are simulations. So simulations let people practice things in virtual reality, maybe in a safer space. So the example I want to show you today is from a company called Victory VR. And this is a simulation of letting a student learn how to dissect a frog and learn about the frog's anatomy. Something very cool about this particular simulation is that many students may have a moral issue with dissecting a real frog. And so this virtual reality simulation allows that student to get the same knowledge and learning without actually having to dissect a real frog. They can take all of the learning inside of virtual reality. Let's look at a video.
Dissections in VR are an excellent example of a user-friendly science education solution. Involving no messy setup or lab safety issues, animal dissections can take place anywhere: a classroom, a library, a museum, even at home. Wendy Martin, a national award-winning science teacher and host of our VR science curricula, has been digitized to provide real-time instruction to learners. And, similar to our award-winning curriculum software, our dissection content is fully aligned to the next generation science standards. Science teachers will feel confident that our VR Frog dissection experience is a suitable substitution for the traditional classroom experience. No detail has been overlooked, from our 2-scale lifelike virtual frog, the dissection equipment, and most important, our standards-aligned, teacher-facilitated, guided lesson.
And again, so many different areas to think about for simulations, but that's a very exciting one and a great example you can try today. The last VR use case that's going to affect our daily life is architecture explorations. So imagine that you are moving to New York City from Japan, and it's very difficult to rent an apartment in New York City. They rent very quickly. So one of the ideas for virtual reality is you can go and experience the apartment inside of virtual reality from Japan, maybe before you move to New York City. I know this would have been a cool use case for me when I was moving to Tokyo, if I could have walked around and explored different apartments inside of virtual reality before I actually came to Japan. So let's look at this video from Brian Howard. He's digitized a particular condo, but just imagine that this could be used in pretty much any environment and allow you to explore a piece of real estate virtually from your own home without requiring you to travel and go visit it.
So what we are seeing is a real-time condo environment running in virtual reality. You can look around, crouch down to the floor, or even jump up to look over the fridge. You move around by teleporting your position with the hand controllers. I use the teleportation method as it is more suited for new users of virtual reality. Doing so, you are much less likely to feel motion sickness, but at the same time, it can be rather limiting for people with more experience using virtual reality. To fully appreciate this, you would actually need to watch it on a virtual reality headset, as the video we are watching now is only in 2 dimensions. So how did I create this scene? The virtual condo is based off a real place, and by living here it made matching the look and feel much easier. I can safely say that walking around in the virtual condo feels right at home in terms of look and feel to the real thing.
So that's a very high resolution video of that particular condo, and you can really feel like you are inside of that apartment, inside of that virtual reality headset. Now let's talk about augmented reality, AR. This is an interactive experience of the real world environment where the objects that reside in the real world are enhanced by computer-generated information. The most famous example I have displayed here is the Pokemon Go game that was available on smartphones. On the screen we can see an image of a street, and we see a Pikachu character being displayed on that street. So that's the virtual object being placed into the real world environment. So let's look at several examples of AR. So let's look at this example of Google Maps. So this Google Maps uses augmented reality to make it easier to navigate in city environments. So I'm going to search from my location and try to get to Meiji Jingumai Harajuku Station. Here's the normal display of Google Maps telling me to head north and then turn left, but I can press this AR button and actually use my camera to have an overlay. So on the screen I'm being shown a pointer to go turn left. Note that I'm currently walking while I'm using this feature, so it's warning me that for my safety I should only use live view while I'm standing still. So here I've stopped again, and I'm getting an indicator to say continue this way, and it's telling me to walk 60 meters. So I'm going to move to another intersection. I'm walking. Now I can turn on the camera again and start looking around to make sure I'm going in the right direction. So I point. When I turn the wrong direction, I get an indicator telling me to turn my camera to the right because I'm actually navigating in the wrong direction. So as I turn to the right, I get these indicators again overlaid on the street to tell me which way to continue. And then here's just one more view of another intersection. And again, it's very helpful to get the pointer and be told, keep going this way. It really helps a lot when navigating, because sometimes using the map view itself, it can be very confusing. Another cool use case is this tool called Aira, which is a visual interpreter for the blind. So people who are blind and low vision can wear glasses or use their smartphone to connect with an Aira agent. And an Aira agent is someone that can help give information to the blind person to navigate in the real world. So I'm going to show you an example that's very current right now related to coronavirus and making sure that people who are blind can maintain a safe distance from other people as they navigate around in the real world.
You're about to experience what it's like to work with an Aira agent to maintain social distance. These people are moving through public spaces. Some are using canes, while others work with guide dogs.
Thanks for calling Aira. This is Emily. What would you like to do today?
We are here at the grocery store. There I am with my mask.
Yes.
Yay!
There's a man entering the store about 10 feet in front of you on the right.
Is there a bunch of people in line in front of you?
There's a gentleman 6 feet in front of you talking to a bank teller. It looks like he's finishing up, and then it will be your turn.
I'd like to go into Walgreens and find some Tylenol for arthritis. Can you help me do that?
I sure can.
At the end of this aisle is the pharmacy. The line starts 6 feet in front of you.
Do you mind directing me to the food area?
Okay, sure. Your path is clear. You're just passing a bunch of cashiers on your left-hand side.
So the checkout line is on your right. Now you're standing on the social distancing footprint marks on the floor. There's one person in line about 10 feet in front of you.
Hey, thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
So Aira is a hugely exciting piece of technology, letting people who are blind and low vision be much more independent out in the real world when navigating. Here is an advertising use case. So this is kind of art video from Keiichi Matsuda called Hyperreality. But this is an idea that some people see the future of augmented reality being used for advertising. On the screen, we have someone pushing a shopping cart, and they have a shopping list to remind them what they meant to buy at the store. But you're also going to see in the video that as the person's navigating the store, they're getting alerts and recommendations to buy different items from the store.
Bueno. Hola otra vez.
You deserve to look fabulous, lose weight, and feel great. And the dog is actually making recommendations of things you should buy. And the dog's asking you to buy it a bone. So this is an idea of something potentially in the future where advertisers will want to use augmented reality to draw our attention to certain items inside of a store. There's also currently use cases for augmented reality when shopping for clothing, makeup, earrings. Let's look at that example. So virtual mirrors are a little different. They're designed to let users see what they would like wearing products that they might want to buy. Some examples are earrings or other jewelry, lipstick, and eyeglasses. These smart mirror applications are gaining popularity among retail businesses which want to get people into their stores. A smart mirror is simply an app that turns the screen of a smartphone or other mobile device into a mirror using its camera function. As users look at the image, the app will make it appear as if they are wearing the product. Another use case of augmented reality is to help children with autism understand emotion. So in this image, we have a child wearing Google Glasses, which has a augmented reality camera attached to the front.
Justin, can you look at mommy? Look at my face. Then we're going to play guessing game, okay?
Yes.
Good job. Look at mommy face.
Happy.
Good job. And what mommy feel right now?
Sad.
Good boy.
The Autism Goth Project is a joint effort at the School of Medicine here at Stanford, and what we're trying to build is a learning aid for kids with autism who struggle to recognize facial expressions that uses emotion recognition and computer vision to help these kids recognize social cues in natural environment.
You're almost 100%.
Sad. Angry.
So again, this example, the augmented reality is helping the child understand what emotions the parent is making. So with augmented reality, it can recognize smiles, sad faces, and help the child understand that that's the emotion that's being expressed by the person they're talking to. Lastly, mixed reality, or MR, is a new environment where physical and digital objects coexist. So this is a combination of augmented reality with the ability to actually interact with the technology. So I'm going to show you an example from Skype.
Skype for HoloLens lets you share your world with family and friends. You can see them in a holographic screen in your space, and they can see everything you can see.
And again, that's a use case of Microsoft HoloLens, another device. And in mixed reality, we actually can interact with the virtual objects that are being displayed in the real world. So finally, extended reality, or XR, is a term that refers to VR, AR, and MR. So it's basically all of these different environments under an umbrella term called XR. For the rest of my presentation, I'm going to be focusing on virtual reality, but I hope you got a great introduction to VR, AR, and MR. Let me first explain to you the hardware that you need to use virtual reality. All VR devices include a head-mounted display, otherwise known as a headset. The headset will cover your eyes and have a strap around the back of your head. Some headsets need to be connected to a powerful computer to display graphics. Some headsets are self-contained and contain the graphics card inside of them. VR headsets can display different visual quality levels and resolutions, the same way that televisions and computer monitors have different capabilities. Typically, the higher resolution the headset can display, the higher the price will be. There's a small screen inside of the display that appears in front of each of your eyes. By showing one image in the left eye and the same image in the right eye, but from a different angle, the feeling of depth can be created so that something appears nearer or farther away. On the screen, I'm showing a two-dimensional image that represents an image of a scuba diver standing on a boat with a ship in the background. If you pay attention to the two images, it is shown that the scuba diver is displayed in two different locations. When our eyes view these images together, we can perceive this image in 3 dimensions. One interesting VR headset is the Google Cardboard headset that was released in 2014. This is simply a piece of cardboard that you can buy that you fold your smartphone inside of. This headset works when you pair it with a modern iPhone or Android device. In the screenshot, you can see that the way it works is that your screen turns into the left and right eye and images are projected into it. You then hold the Google Cardboard to your face like you're looking through binoculars. Google put many interesting videos onto YouTube that are filmed in 360 degrees so that you can look in any direction in them while they are playing. Let's look at an example. I found this video titled The Great Hammerhead Shark Encounter, National Geographic, on YouTube. I am demonstrating that you can try these experiences on your computer and use your mouse to pan and look in different directions. I will demo what I look like with my Oculus Quest headset. With it on, if I look up, I will see the top of the water and the underside of a boat floating above me. If I look down, I will see that there is a person on the bottom of the ocean floor filming me. Now I will show that I can look in a circle in a counterclockwise direction. As I spin around, I see that I am surrounded by sharks in several directions. 360-degree experiences are very cool. However, I do prefer swimming with sharks in virtual reality. I think in the real world, I would be very scared. Let us now move on to hand controllers. Most VR devices include 1 or 2 hand controllers that contain a variety of buttons. I'm going to show you examples from the Oculus Quest controller. Most controllers have a bracelet that goes around the wrist. This bracelet is used to keep people from dropping the controller and potentially damaging the controller or their floor. The thumb stick is a small joystick for your thumb. In many VR experiences, the joystick is used to move or teleport inside of the environment. It can also be used to move between items in a menu. The thumbsticks on each controller can be clicked, similar to the thumbsticks on a Sony PlayStation or Microsoft Xbox controller. On each controller, there are 3 buttons for your thumb. On the left controller, they are labeled Y, X, and menu button, and on the right controller, they are labeled B, A, and the Oculus button. The trigger button is for your pointer finger. It is often used similarly to the left mouse button on your computer or the space bar or enter key on your keyboard. It's also similar to a single tap on your smartphone. There is a grip button that you push with your middle finger. For the right controller, you would push the grip button with your right middle finger. If you're pushing the grip button with the palm of your hand, then the controller is in the wrong hand. So what if you only have one hand? Some people do, and that is why VR experiences should be flexible. If you want to use only one hand, then you should be able to do everything in VR with one hand. And we'll talk about examples of that later in the presentation. I would now like to show you an example of how virtual reality software can provide new and exciting experiences by allowing people to experience things that are similar to the real world. This project is a VR therapy program for the elderly developed at the University of Tokyo by Kenta Toshima. I will now show a video from the American news network CNN about this project. These senior citizens are traveling the world without leaving their seat. Their virtual reality headsets are taking them from the canals of Venice to the Golden Gate Bridge. Fellow seniors are learning how to shoot and edit the 360-degree footage used in these headsets.
This is a 360-degree camera.
You travel with this?
Yeah, I already traveled to Hawaii with this. When I showed the picture to my friends, they were so surprised.
What did they say?
Oh, unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how will this change life for seniors?
Most of the senior people cannot move, travel, right?
So this lets them.
Kenta Toshima started these workshops when he was working as a therapist. Toshima came up with the idea of VR travel to help seniors revisit places close to their heart.
Those who have lived for 80, 90 years, there aren't so many things they haven't personally experienced. So when they see the VR, using this device takes them to a different place right before their eyes. They were extremely excited. I saw people stand up who don't normally stand up, who then start walking. It was so shocking.
One of my favorite parts was when you were pushing the fellow around on the wheelchair and you had the little segways on your feet. It seemed like that really brought you a lot of joy.
I'm sure it's fun for him, but I might be enjoying it the most.
Related to the previous example, I can share a personal story. One awesome thing about virtual reality is that you can meet up with people from around the world. My father lives in North Carolina, my sister lives in New York City, and I live in Tokyo. We all have virtual reality headsets and can travel the world together. My father showed us the town where my great-grandfather lived. The name of the town is York, South Carolina. My sister and I have never been there in the real world, but we could experience it in virtual reality. This image is of my great-grandfather's house. This was such an amazing experience. In this video example, my dad is walking us through the main street of York, South Carolina. My dad was able to tell us many different stories as we walked, step by step down the street. On the screen, a VR pointer is aimed at a white storefront labeled Sylvia. The VR pointer then moves into the street. It highlights and selects an arrow that moves us farther and farther down the street. The red circle represents what my father is looking at, and the blue circle is what my sister is looking at. These circles let you draw people's attention to something you want to talk about. By the way, this application uses Google Maps and Google Earth information, so you can travel almost anywhere in the world that has been mapped. So you might be wondering, how can I download and use this application myself? On the screen, I'm showing the Wander application that I just demonstrated. In Japan, it is available for 490 yen. Virtual reality applications are typically installed through stores similar to what we have today on the iPhone and the Android. The two most common stores are the Oculus Store and Steam. The Oculus Store is owned by Facebook, and the Steam Store is owned by Valve. There are concerns from developers that it can be difficult to work outside of these stores, much as there are similar concerns with the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store on our smartphones. Some virtual reality applications are free to use, and prices generally though range from $5 to $40 US. One interesting policy is that you can download and try an experience and receive an immediate refund within 14 days. You can only get the refund if you have played the experience for less than 2 hours. I think this is a great policy, as often virtual reality experiences look like they may be interesting, but once you try it out, you realize it's not something you will use frequently. I am now going to show an example of virtual reality software that is a simulation of the real world, but does not look like the real world. This application is named Virtual Nihongo. This application is part of a research project by Rob Dongas from the University of Sydney in Australia. The idea of the application is that foreigners may be nervous about coming to visit Japan for the first time if they do not understand Japanese or do not understand the culture and customs. This application will let them practice inside of a simulation some of the first experiences that they will have when they come to Japan. The video starts with you being on a flight bound for Japan. We start with a computer screen. Welcome aboard flight VR015 bound to Japan. We see other passengers are sitting inside of a first-class cabin. A stewardess wearing a blue hat walks up and approaches us. First, she bows to another customer. She says, "Ohayo gozaimasu," and there is a visual prompt for us to practice saying it back. Now we are at the Immigration Center, and we use our immigration card to scan and continue. They ask us for our passport. Now we're at a vending machine, and we push a button to purchase a green tea. But then we push a different button to purchase a different drink.